Today we are starting with the study of skull bones. The human skull is composed of 22 bones. These bones unite with each other in a particular pattern, forming the joints which are unique to the skull bones. These joints are called as sutures or the cranial sutures. Now, the sutures are actually narrow gaps between the joining bones. In early stages of life, these gaps are filled with dense fibrous tissues. The bony fusion across the bones starts after 30 years of the age. There are many sutures which are present between the bones of the skull. Like this is the coronal suture, this one is the coronal suture, this is the sagittal suture, this is the lambdoid suture, this is squamosal suture. These are the few of the sutures of cranial bones. Now, for study purpose, these bones are divided into two segments or two categories. First is the neurocranium and the other is viscerocranium. The neurocranium, it is the part of the skull bones which covers the brain and the meninges. It is composed of 8 bones which are a frontal bone, this is a frontal bone, 2 temporal bones, one on either side. These are 2 temporal bones, 2 parietal bones, these are 2 parietal bones, 1 occipital bone, this is the occipital bone, and rest of the 2 bones are present within the cranial cavity, which are the ethmoid bone, this is the ethmoid bone, this one is the ethmoid bone, and this is the sphenoid bone. This is the body and these are the wings of the sphenoid bone, right? So these 8 bones, they together form the neurocranium. Let me replace the top portion. Now the viscerocranium is composed of 14 bones. The viscerocranium is composed of 14 bones. It forms the facial skeleton. Among the 14 bones, some of the bones are paired and some are unpaired. The paired bones are 2 nasal bones, these are nasal bones, 2 lacrimal bones, this is a lacrimal bone, this one is also a lacrimal bone. The 2 nasal bones, 2 lacrimal bones, 2 maxillae, 2 zygomatic bones, 2 inferior nasal concha bones. These are the inferior nasal concha. You can see here. It is a separate bone altogether. These are paired bones. And the palatine bone. This is the palatine bone. These 2 are the palatine bones. So these 6 paired bones are the paired bones of the viscerocranium. The unpaired bones are a vomer bone. This is a vomer bone. This portion is called as the vomer bone, and mandible, the bone of lower jaw. This is called as the mandible. So these 14 bones, they together form the viscerocranium. Now today we are focusing on the study of norma frontalis or the frontal view of the skull. The bones which are seen from the frontal view. These bones are, this is the frontal bone, the ethmoid bone, this is the perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone, this one, the upper half of this partition, bony partition, is called as the ethmoid bone, the lacrimal bone, nasal bones, maxillae, zygomatic bones, mandible. Some portion of the inferior nasal concha and the vomer can be seen from the frontal view as well. Now starting with the frontal bone. Frontal bone, it is the bone of forehead. This is called as the bone of forehead. From the top of the head, this bone, it curves anterior-inferiorly up to the superior orbital margin. This is the superior orbital margin. Root of the nose and the nasal septum. This is the nasal septum, where it forms the roof of the orbit. This is the orbit. This is the socket for the eyeball, called as the orbit. The frontal bone forms the roof of the orbit here. It also forms the roof of the nose and the nasal septum. Now the frontal bone, it has slightly flattened area in the midline. It's called as the glabella. Here in the midline, this area is called as the glabella. Beside the glabella, on either side, these are bony ridges called as superciliary arches. These bony arches are meant for the attachment of eyebrows. This is the area where the eyebrows are attached. It's called as the superciliary arches. Now the frontal bone, it also has a prominent area, most prominent area here, called as the frontal eminence, can be located 3 to 4 centimeter superiorly from the superior orbital margin. Is the superior orbital margin with the frontal eminence present on either side of the skull. So this is the frontal bone. Moving ahead, you can see another bone, small bone. This is the smallest bone of the skull, called as the lacrimal bone. Here is the lacrimal bone. It has 4 borders and 2 surfaces. The superiorly, it joins with the frontal bone. Anteriorly, it joins with the frontal process of the maxilla. Inferiorly, it also joins with the maxilla, and posteriorly, it joins with the orbital plate of ethmoid bone. This is the orbital plate of ethmoid bone here. So these are the 4 borders of the lacrimal bone. It also has 2 surfaces, the medial one and the lateral one. The medial surface, it participates in the formation of middle nasal meatus here. It participates in the formation of middle nasal meatus, and it also encloses some of the ethmoidal air cells. The lateral surface, it has this lacrimal groove here. It has this lacrimal groove which houses the nasolacrimal sac and the nasolacrimal duct here. The lateral surface, it also participates in the formation of medial wall of the orbit by joining posteriorly with the orbital plate of the ethmoid bone. This is the orbital plate of the ethmoid bone here. So this is the lacrimal bone. Now next is the maxilla. This is the maxilla. The pink region which is shown here is called as the maxilla. This is the bone of upper jaw. It forms the major element of the facial skeleton. Now the body of maxilla, it lies inferior to the orbit and lateral to the nasal cavity, containing the maxillary air sinus. Here is the body of the maxilla, which contains the maxillary air sinus. Now the body of maxilla has a structure of 3-sided pyramid, where the base is pointed medially and the apex is pointed laterally, which is overlapped by the zygomatic bone. The first side of the pyramid is formed by the anterior or anterolateral surface of the maxilla here. The other side is formed by the orbital surface of the maxilla here, and the third side of the pyramid is formed by posterior or posterolateral surface of the maxilla. Not very clearly seen from this view. Here is the third side of the pyramid. Now the anterior or anterolateral surface, it projects on the face here. The orbital surface, it forms the floor of the orbit, and the posterior or posterolateral surface of the maxilla, it forms the anterior wall of the infratemporal fossa. Somewhere here is the infratemporal fossa. This is the temporal fossa and this is the infratemporal fossa. The posterior or posterolateral wall of the maxilla forms the anterior wall of the infratemporal fossa. Right? Now the body of maxilla, it also has curved projections projecting downward from the body of maxilla, which bears the socket for the insertion of roots of maxillary teeth. These are the alveolar process of the maxilla here. Now the maxilla joins directly with the frontal bone through this frontal process of the maxilla. This is the frontal process of the maxilla here. This frontal process of the maxilla, it joins anteriorly with the nasal bone and posteriorly with the lacrimal bone. This lacrimal bone further posteriorly joins with the orbital plate of the ethmoid bone and forms the and completes the medial wall of the orbit here. Right? This is the medial wall of the orbit. So this is the maxilla. Moving ahead, we can see a pear-shaped structure present in the midline. This is called as the anterior nasal aperture. The inferior and lateral margins of the aperture are formed by the maxilla. This is the inferior and lateral margins of the aperture are formed by the maxilla. The lower half actually of the margins formed by the maxilla. The upper half is formed by the nasal bone itself here. Now you can see a presence of bony partition between these two nasal cavities. This is called as the nasal septum. So this is the nasal septum. Now the upper half of the nasal septum is formed by the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. This portion is the part of ethmoid bone here, called as the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. And the lower half of the nasal septum is formed by the vomer bone, which is a separate bone. This is the vomer bone. It forms the lower half of the nasal septum, although this is the only anterior view of the vomer bone right here. Next is the zygomatic bone. This bone is also called as the cheekbone. The prominence of cheek region is because of this zygomatic bone. This is the zygomatic bone. Now the zygomatic bone, it extends along the inferior border of the, this is the inferior border or inferior margin of the orbit. It extends superiorly and joins with the frontal bone through this area called as the frontal process of the zygomatic bone. This is the frontal process of the zygomatic bone. It joins with this part of the frontal bone, which is called as the zygomatic process of the frontal bone. These two processes join with each other at this region. This is called as the frontozygomatic suture. This is the frontal bone, this is the zygomatic bone. So the name is the frontozygomatic suture. These two processes, along with the greater wing of the sphenoid bone, shown in the red color, forms the lateral wall of the orbit. This is the lateral wall of the orbit, which is formed by the union of this greater wing of sphenoid with these two processes right here. The zygomatic bone between the orbit and the maxilla, it also forms the lateral half of the inferior margin of the orbit. So this is the inferior and lateral margin of the orbit, which is formed by the zygomatic bone. So this is the zygomatic bone. Next is the mandible. This is the bone of lower jaw. It has two components, two basic components. First one is the body, and which is the horizontal component, and the other one is the ramus portion. This is the vertical component of the mandible, body and the vertical component ramus. So the inferior border of the mandible travels laterally like this and joins with the posterior border of the ramus at this area called as the angle of mandible. This area provides attachment for the muscles. Now the body portion, these two halves of the mandible join with each other in this region called as symphysis menti. This is the union point of these two halves of the mandible. It's called as the symphysis menti. Now the mandible, it also has projections called as the alveolar processes, which are meant for the insertion of roots of the mandibular teeth. These are the alveolar process of the mandible here. Now we can see in the vertical component, in the ramus portion, we can see two processes or these two parts of the bone. The anterior one is called as the coronoid process and the posterior one is called as the condylar process. The coronoid process provides attachment for the muscles, and the condylar process, it joins with the cranium at this area called as the glenoid fossa or the mandibular fossa through the head of the condyle. This is the condylar process and this is the head of the condyle. Now this condylar process, this is the head of the condyle, this is the neck of the condyle. This condylar process and this neck region, it is very important area from the clinical point of view because of its vulnerability to fracture. Whenever there is a hit or trauma in the chin region like this, the shock wave passing through the bone often fractures the bone at the symphysis parasymphysis region. This is the symphysis parasymphysis region and this is the condylar neck region. So the trauma often fractures the bone at this area. This is the one of the most common site for the fracture of mandible. This is the clinical importance of the condylar neck region. Here we can also see couple of foramen present on the anterior surface of the skull. Here these are the supraorbital foramen. These are the supraorbital foramen which are located about 1 to 1.5 centimeter laterally from the midline. Now another foramen, these two are the infraorbital foramen. Here the location of this foramen is just below the root apex of the second premolar tooth, right here below the orbit, just below the root apex of second premolar tooth. And the mental foramen, these two are the mental foramen. These are located about 3 to 4 centimeter lateral from the symphysis menti and somewhere in the midline between the alveolar, this is the alveolar margin and this is the inferior border of the mandible, which can be located or felt as a depression just below the root apex of the second premolar tooth here. So this completes the norma frontalis or the frontal view of the skull in a nutshell. Thank you very much.